went and visited Gettysburg. And I've heard the history lessons my whole life about all the battles that occurred in Gettysburg, and and you take it and you say, okay, well, that's part of history. Well, whenever I was actually there, we were on a little tour, and they took us to this field, and they said, okay, this is where a great battle occurred. So they said, right over here is where one group was entrenched in this ditch, and their army was entrenched here. And then the other group was coming from this side of the field, aiming towards that trench where the enemy was. And so the instructions that they were given as they advanced towards that trench was that whenever the person carrying the flag gets killed, because we're sure they will get killed because they're entrenched in that ditch shooting at us, that the next person that's alive needs to pick up the flag and continue running forward towards the enemy fire. And then when that person gets killed, because we're sure he will too, the next person should pick up the flag and continue running. And so the plan was that there would be enough people to be able to make it all the way up to where this group was firing at them, and be able to overtake the enemy and just jump over all the people that had been shot in front of you. Well, as I stood in that field and I looked, and this is just a flat cow pasture, and I'm looking at where the one group is under cover and where this other group is wide in the open and just running towards them, firing as you go, I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't seem like a very good plan to me. I mean, it seems to me like, if nothing else, let's retreat and fight another day. I mean, just running into enemy gunfire just made no sense to me whatsoever. It certainly looked different whenever you were standing right there in that battlefield or that cow pasture, realizing how history happened. Well, my name is Richard Coleman, and I'm the pastor at Shepherd Church of the Nazarene in Lexington, South Carolina, and it's great to spend just a few moments with you today. Been looking at Joshua and how he has led the Israelites into the Promised Land. The first obstacle that they come upon is the city of Jericho. Jericho's a walled city. They would have people up on top of that wall that if you tried to attack it, they would be able to shoot arrows down at you. It was built so that an invading army could not get in. But God told Joshua, he said, Joshua, I want you to overtake that city, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And God's plan, I mean, this sounds terrible. It just seems like the most ridiculous plan of any battle plan that I've ever heard of in my life. What I want you to do is get the people together. I want you to put the priest up front and get some people that can blow horns, and just have them all follow them around, march around this city once a day for 6 days. And then on the seventh day, I want you to march around it 7 times. And then on the 7th time, I want you to blow the horns and everybody just shout. That's my plan. Well, that sounds like as bad of a plan as that Gettysburg thing to me. I mean, like, surely there has to be a better way than that. But you know, by following God's plan, whenever they finished that last part and they blew the trumpets and the people shouted, the walls of that city just crumbled down and the people were able to rush right in. You see, it was a miracle performed by God. Some people say, well, it had to do with the fact that they made all that pounding with their feet, and it upset something in the earth, and then you add that to the trumpets and the blowing, and that could have caused all kinds of this, that, and the other. You know, it really doesn't matter how God orchestrated it. The thing was, God's plan worked. And so I get to thinking about, if it would have been me and they would have asked me to conquer Jericho, what would I have done? And I probably would have thought of things like build ladders and throw some ladders up on the side and try to get enough people shooting arrows to the top of the wall so that they wouldn't be shooting arrows as the people were trying to climb the ladders. Maybe circle the city and try to starve them out, and just don't let anybody come out since they're walled in, and just kind of starve them out and see if they'll finally surrender. I'm not sure what my plan would have been, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, it would not have been the plan that God came up with, but it was God's plan that worked. And so, I pause here to think about, how God has worked in my life with plans that I sure couldn't see the end of it. And I had no idea where it was going. I can remember when I was 20 years old, and I was working at a job, and the job didn't have any retirement in it, but it paid well, and the people treated me great. I enjoyed what I was doing. But I started praying. I had a gnawing sensation inside of me that like I needed to get a job with retirement and so forth. I look back and I realized it was probably more God speaking to me than it was me worrying about a retirement system. But anyway, I started praying, and I prayed consistently for months. And I said, God, if you'll show me what you want me to do, I'll do it. But please don't call me to be a pastor. And I know that probably sounds like a crazy thing whenever I say that, but I never wanted to be a pastor. It seemed to me like it would be one of the worst jobs that a person could ever have. And so for months, I prayed that prayer every day, many times through the day. God, whatever it is you want me to do, if you'll show it to me, I'll do it. But please don't call me to be a pastor. And I won't try to go into all the details, but God truly showed me that He wanted me to join the Highway Patrol. And it was something that my dad had been a member of, and my dad had asked me if I wanted. I said, oh no, I'm not interested in the Highway Patrol. I'm not interested in guns or fast cars or having authority. None of those things really appeal to me. I'm not interested in that. But when God led me in that direction, even though it didn't seem to me like it was a good fit, I went because I made a promise to God. If you'll show me what you want me to do, I'll do it. And God blessed my career. I mean, I could be here for hours. If you've been watching these Facebook messages over several years, you've probably heard some of my stories about how God has blessed me. But He blessed my career in so many ways. And that's something I never, ever could have done any of that on my own, but it was a part of God's plan. And then after I had many years on the Highway Patrol, again, I started praying, and I said, God, whatever you want in my life, and through a series of events, God showed me that He wanted me to become a pastor. The thing that I had asked Him not to call me to, 20-something years earlier, but now He was saying, I want you to be a pastor. And so He worked out for my retirement, allowed me to be able to go to Bible college, provided funding for all of that. And I could just go on and on about all the things that God did in that plan. It seemed like a terrible plan to me. Why in the world would I want to be a pastor? But I went to Bible college and was able to be the pastor of 2 wonderful churches, and God truly blessed me through that effort. And then that same kind of nagging that had appeared kind of in those other 2 times kind of hit me about a year ago. And about a year ago, I started praying and saying, God, I'm not sure what direction you want me to go in, but please show me. And again, through a series of events, God, has led me to the fact that it's time for me to retire. And it doesn't seem like it ought to be. It seems like, hey, I'm still young, and I just ought to keep right on doing and going and being right where I am and as happy as I am doing what I'm doing. But I recognize that God has shown me through the years that when He leads, He has a plan. So what's He getting ready to do with me? I just have no idea. But I have seen enough through my life to realize God has a plan, and I want to be in the center of that. So this will be my last Facebook message, and we're going to start our retirement, and so we're looking forward to that. And so may God bless you. May His face shine upon you. May you truly be able to continue to serve Him and be the person that He would have you to be. Thanks for taking the time viewing now and all the times that you have done so.